Hello everyone, I hope you all are good, doing well. So today is 1st Feb 2025 and today we are going to cover one of the important theme with respect to our UPSC as well as PCS examination. So the theme of today's lecture is groundwater, groundwater pollution and India's status and global convention. If I talk about the UPSC and PCS examination, we have seen that pollution has always been the favorite area from where each year we can encounter questions in prelims as well as in mains examination. So this lecture is being prepared and it's also presented by me. My name is Shama. So let's start our lecture. So time and again I always emphasize whatever you guys are reading, first you have to connect it with your syllabus as well as previous year question paper theme. So if I talk about the groundwater pollution, you can connect it with your environment section in prelims, as well as there are certain diseases which are associated with the agents of groundwater pollutant, like a groundwater pollutant, and we will see we can connect this also with your science and tech. And apart from that, there are certain bodies, like you can see one of them here written here, that is CGWB, that is Central Groundwater Board. And apart from that, there is another body, that is NGT, which has time and again came into the picture and always give it judgment with respect to the pollution. So National Green Tribunal. So these two bodies is also important. So you can connect it with your polity part also, you can connect it with environment part also, you can connect it with your science section also with respect to prelims examination. If I talk about the mains examination, you can connect it with your GS paper 3, and you may encounter questions in your essay paper also with respect to pollution. So without delaying, let's start our lecture. So why this ground pollution is in news? Because there is recently what we have seen, the Central Groundwater Board reports has been put on the table, and the report reveals a troubling rise in the groundwater contaminations across India, with more districts showing excessive nitrate levels. So this chemical contaminant poses a significant health risk, particularly to young and children, while also raising environmental concern. So India is one of the largest users of groundwater, where groundwater contribution to more than 60% of country's irrigation resources. So this over extraction of groundwater is non-renewable, since recharge rate are less than extraction rate, and replenishing this resource can take thousands of years. So what I can say, the groundwater, it is a crucial source of drinking water as well as for irrigation, apart from that for industrial use in India, supporting nearly 600 million people. So despite its importance, however, groundwater in many regions is facing severe contamination, leading to public health crisis, economic loss, environmental degradation. So understanding the cause and consequence of groundwater contamination is essential for developing country and for developing for us and with respect to developing effective solutions. So let's move further. We are going to look about the source. Yeah, you can see the picture which I have given here. So before moving further, I request you to pause for a second. This map is presented by this body of Central Groundwater Board. So I request you to look at the red highlighted area. You can see how the western part of India as well as the southern part of India is overexploited. So I request you to pause for a second and look at the picture. So let's move to further. So what we are going to see in this slide, what are the sources of groundwater contaminations? So first, obviously, what we can see, wait for a second. Yeah. So the first we are seeing here, that is naturally occurring contaminant. So high level of arsenic, fluoride, iron, uranium exist naturally in some geological formation, contaminating groundwater. So in terms of arsenic and iron pollution, West Bengal and Assam are the worst affected state respectively. So you have to keep this in mind if the question came in your examination, like arsenic and iron pollution is the maximum in the region like West Bengal and Assam. So this statement is right. So the next point is agriculture. Excessive use of fertilizer, pesticide and herbicides leach harmful chemical into the water table. Industrial waste, untreated industrial waste often find their way into groundwater sources, introducing heavy metals and other toxins. If I talk about the urbanizations, like we can see leaky sewage system and improper waste disposal in urban area contribute to groundwater pollution as well. Saltwater intrusion, here we can see in the coastal region, over pumping of groundwater can cause salt water from the ocean to infiltrate freshwater aquifer and rendering the water unusable for drinking or irrigations. So if I talk about the Rajasthan has the highest number of rural habitation affected by the contamination, especially with respect to the salinity. So let's move further and look at the primary agent for contaminating groundwater. The first we can see here, that is arsenic. While arsenic occurs naturally, it is also present in human-made form and used in human-made forms used in agriculture, mining and manufacturing. So seepage from industrial and mining discharge as well as from fly ash ponds in the thermal power plant and can introduce this arsenic into the groundwater. So chronic exposure to arsenic can cause black foot disease. So the question has been asked in PCS examination as well as UPSC, that there one side you will see the name of the agent responsible for certain disease, on the other side you will see the name of the diseases. So what I have said with respect to arsenic, that is black foot disease. Let's move second agent, we can see that is fluoride. So in India, fluorosis is a prevalent issue due to the consumption of water with high fluoride content. So excessive fluoride intake can result in neuromuscular disorder and dental deformities and skeleton fluorosis characterized by painful and stiff joints. Knock-knee syndrome, the question again has been asked. This knock-knee syndrome is related to with agents with primary agent or with because of which I could say which contaminated product. So that is because of the fluoride, high concentration of it. So the two disease which we have seen, that is blackfoot disease with respect to arsenic and knock-knee syndrome, that is with respect to fluoride. So knock-knee syndrome marked by outward bending of leg from knees can also occur. Let's move to the next one, that is nitrates. So here again you might have seen, or the question has already been asked, blue baby syndrome. So that is with respect to the nitrate. So excessive nitrate level in drinking water react with hemoglobin, forming non-functional methemoglobin and hindering oxygen transport, leading to blue baby syndrome. So high nitrate level can also contribute to the formation of carcinogens and accelerated eutrophication. That is with respect to your environment. I hope you have already read about the eutrophication, the excess boom in the algae. So next, let's talk about the blue baby syndrome, which is related to the nitrate. So it causes a bluish discoloration of skin in a babies, and it is due to the excessive nitrate level in a drinking water. If I talk about the uranium, so uranium, the weak radioactive with a long physical half-life, is found in concentrations above WHO guidelines in localized pocket in India. So the region like Rajasthan, northwestern state, uranium is primarily present in alluvial aquifers. So while in southern state like Telangana, it originates from crystalline rocks such as granite. So we can see if there is a high concentration of uranium, it can also cause kidney toxicity. The next agent we can see, that is radon. So recently in some area of Bangalore groundwater used for drinking has found to contain significantly high level of radioactive radon. So it originates from radioactive granites and uranium, which undergoes decay to radium and radon. Next, talk about the other trace metal, like we can talk about the lead, mercury, cadmium, copper, chromium and nickel. So there is a one disease which is related to cadmium, and the question has been asked, like water contaminated with cadmium can cause Itai disease, and it is also known as or called as ouch disease. So mercury in water can cause Minamata, that is a neurological syndrome in humans. So the question has been asked with respect to all this disease, be it Itai and Minamata also. Let's move further. We will talk about the one body, that is Central Groundwater Authority. So this authority is constituted under the section 3 and section 3 sub clause 3 of Environmental Protection Act of 1986. The question can be asked like CGWA has been constituted under which act? So that is Environmental Protection Act, with respect to regulate and control the development and management of groundwater resources. So what is the main function? The main function is to regulate, control, manage development of groundwater in the country and to issue necessary regulatory direction for this purpose. So exercise of power under Environmental Protection Act for the appointment of officer is also the major function of it. Let's move further and we are going to see about the impact of groundwater contamination. So first point we will see like impact of groundwater contamination on health. So the health implications of groundwater contaminations are severe. So many contaminants such as heavy metal, I already talked about the lead, arsenic, cadmium and pathogens can cause acute and chronic health issues, and we have listed out also certain disease with respect to this agents or contaminants. So waterborne disease, contaminated water can lead to disease like diarrhea, hepatitis, cholera. And if I talk about the chronic illness, so long-term exposure to heavy metal and other pollutant can cause it can result in a kidney damage, neurological disorder and cancer. If I talk about the reproductive health issue, contaminants like pesticide, heavy metal have been linked to reproductive health problem also, including the birth defect and infertility. So if I talk about the impact of groundwater contamination on economy, so the economic implication of groundwater contaminations are substantial because contaminated water affect agriculture productivity, leading to lower crop yield and increased food insecurity. Moreover, healthcare costs rise due to treatment of waterborne disease and long-term health issues. So the loss of productive and increased expenditure on a clean water sources further strain local economies as well. So let's move further. Here is a one picture which I have shown. I request you to pause this picture and you can see the impact of water pollution on urban and domestic use, ecosystem health, human health. You can see here the industrial productivity, you can see the social values and tourism, agriculture productivity, commercial fisheries, and here we talk about that direct and indirect fish killing, and we have you can connect it with the eutrophication also. So, and property value, like waterfront property value can decline because of the unsighting, pollution and odor. So let's move further. What we are going to see, the solution and strategy to the groundwater contamination. First we can say that is regulatory framework. So in strengthening law and regulation related to industrial discharge, agriculture practices and waste management is essential. Sustainable agriculture and practices, like we need to promote organic farming and we have to integrate pest management in order to reduce the resilience on the harmful chemical. And we have to train farmer in sustainable practice that could also help in minimizing the leaching of pollutants into the groundwater. Waste management improvement, like developing efficient waste management system in urban area can reduce the groundwater contaminations. Public awareness camping, so it is vital to educate communities about the importance of groundwater conservation and contamination prevention. Research and monitoring, investing in the research to understand the extent and nature of groundwater contamination can improve effective policy making. Community involvement, engaging local communities in groundwater management can enhance the effectiveness as well as the conservation effort also. So let's move further. Here we can see the International Convention Agreement. So I request you to just read it. The Ramsar Convention 1971 focus on the wetland conservation impacting groundwater discharge. UNECE Water Convention 1992 promote transboundary water protections. UN Sustainable Development Goal number 6, that is clean water or sanitation, that the aim to achieve by 2030. Paris Agreement of 2015, which talk about the climate change impact on water resources, and aim is to maintain the temperature 1.5 degree from pre-industrial time. And UNESCO IHP, that is International Hydrological Program, with respect to groundwater sustainability and research. So let's talk about the way forward here. So if I have to see, if like first point I have mentioned, that is a strengthening groundwater regulation. So enforcing strict regulation on industrial waste disposal and agriculture practices, implementing a permit system for groundwater extractions. So promoting sustainable agriculture, I already said we have to promote, like we have to train farmer, we have to in with respect to, like we can use the irrigation practices like drip irrigations, we can ask them to practice organic farming, invest in infrastructure, in like increasing invest in a building and maintaining wastewater treatment plant to prevent untreated sewage from contaminating groundwater. Decentralized management, like we can empower local communities with respect to fostering participatory water management model. This can involve forming water user association for planning, monitoring, regulating groundwater extraction in local area. Blue credit, like offering financial incentives like blue credit for rainwater harvesting, grey water recycling, and adoption of water saving technologies in domestic and industrial sector. Utilizing artificial intelligence, like leveraging AI to analyze the vast set of data on water quality, usage pattern, and aquifer characteristics. So this can help in predicting the contamination risk and develop a targeted intervention, and develop a target, like we can directly target the region. So let's come to the conclusion. So groundwater pollution is a critical challenge for India's water security, requires a multidimensional approach including policies, technology, and community involvement. Sustainable water management is essential for environmental and economic stability, and future policies must focus on long-term water conservation and pollution preventions. So that's all for today. I don't want to enlarge the lecture more than 15 minutes, maximum 20 minutes. So that's all for today. I hope you guys have understood what I'm trying to, and you might have understood also the importance of this topic as well. So that's all for today. If you like this video, I request to hit the like button. If you have any suggestion, don't forget to comment us in the comment section and let us know about your opinion about the groundwater pollution and anything else you want to convey to us. So that's all for today. See you soon. Till then, study hard. Exam, if you guys are giving exam in 2025, then you guys are left with, still you have time. So just you have to have faith in yourself. So that's all for today. See you soon. Till then, take care, study hard. Thank you.